Can we talk for a minute? Girl, I want to know your name. Can we talk for a minute? Girl, I want to know your name.
Hello? Can we talk? Huh? Hello, everyone. I am Jessica.
And I'm Tavius.
And we are Peterkin-DOM.
Yeah.
Why you don't ever say stuff when I'm trying to say it? God.
Because it's not in your head.
Okay.
You're not communicating.
And thank you for tuning in to Peterkin-DOM. Relationship Matters. Relationship Matters is an opportunity for us to discuss real problems, real issues related to love, relationship, and marriage. So this is our opportunity to share based on our experiences to help you.
We also center on Christ.
Yes, most definitely. So today, Tavius has a thesis on communication. On communication.
Don't do that.
He's a teacher, so it's gonna be a little long ride. So get your
Oh my
drinks.
goodness.
Get your drinks. I'm talking about Kool-Aid, water, tea.
You are not nice to me.
I am.
Not
I'm
at all.
just being a realist. This is a real relationship.
No.
Matters. And what matters is that Tavius is a thesis ready for y'all.
Today we're talking about communication in your relationship or in your marriage. And so in dealing with communication, the first thing you need to understand is that communication is extremely important. Like without it, your relationship is going to plunder.
When we first got married, the most difficult thing for me to do was to communicate, express myself regarding feelings, emotions, because the way I grew up, it's just not something that you do. You just focus on, all of your feelings. You just get stuff done. So I'm a doer, and Tavius likes to talk. For those who know, Tavius likes to talk a lot.
Depends upon what we're talking about though. In the beginning of our relationship, back when we were just courting, our communication actually was pretty good.
Yeah, because we were getting to know each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what most of us do is we go from that stage and we get married, and then our communication level fizzles out.
So as it relates to what Tavius has to say or had to say regarding some of the things, he also similarly did the same as it related to his emotions. He didn't always express how he felt. It was times when, he would just deal with things and not speak up like he was mentioning, and then it would turn into an argument like 10 weeks later because now all of a sudden he remembered that he was mad about, me eating the last bagel like 2 months ago. And I didn't even remember that I ate the bagel because to me it was just a bagel, but to him it was like, you don't think about me, I'm invisible. And I'm like, whoa, that's so deep. So we had to learn a lot of communication skills in order for us to be able to talk through some things. And of course, I'm not afraid or ashamed to say that we did have to have some assistance in being able to build those tools. All right, so we're gonna share some tools on what we used and found effective to help us better communicate.
Yes, these tools, you want to hang on to them, you want to be intentional about them, and you definitely want to apply them in all of your situations. You want to have them on your mind, kind of like what the word says, hide the word in your heart.
Yes.
And so you really want
Preach.
to be able to call upon those words and these thoughts so that when you are faced with situations, you can automatically have those things ready to use.
And you're equipped to be able to use them effectively. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, you get brain fog and you might not realize that you're going off. Number 1, establish and maintain eye contact.
So establishing and maintaining eye contact is super important because it allows your partner, whatever kind of relationship you have, in fact, it lets the other person know that you care about them, that you are actually in tune with what they're speaking about.
Yeah, because clearly in this day and age, there is a lot of phubbing going on.
Phubbing, the act of ignoring one's companion or companions to pay attention to one's mobile device or other electronics.
So when we spend time with our cell phone instead of focusing on the person that we're communicating with, it really reads off as being rude or dismissive. And, I can say that I'm guilty of it. And even though, well, I won't say, Tavius actually does a pretty good job.
but I am guilty in other ways.
Yes. And sometimes it's hard because, like, for me, like, I don't think I have ADD because, you know, whatever, but I can't pay attention for a long time. And then when you have, you know, a teacher for a husband and a preacher for a husband wrapped into one person who's also in a PhD program that makes them talk more, it's a recipe for, you know, a lot of things just being said at rapid pace. And my attention span is like, you know, shorter than a goldfish. It's really hard.
Body language also plays a major role in communication as well. When you're doing things like slouching, or you're on your phone, as we already said, or you're looking somewhere else off into the distance, all of these things translate that you really just don't care, or you're disinterested in what your partner is saying.
So, to make a long story short, eye contact is the best way to go. Also, making sure that you're watching your facial expressions and being sure that you are not rolling your eyes and things like that. Because, you know, even though, rolling your neck, because even though, you know, eye contact is one thing, you could make eye contact and still be rude by rolling. Number 2. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Serious, because if you start saying all the extra stuff, or you're being rude and you're not being careful of the words that you choose, they will have long-term consequences. You cannot reel your words back in, and once you say something, it's out there. And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So what you actually say is what you really mean. So unfortunately, if you're saying rude things or disrespectful things, it's gonna come back to bite you.
Keep the goal in mind of what it is that you're trying to accomplish by communicating with one another. The end result...
He's having problems communicating right now.
You want to be intentional about what you're actually speaking about. It's not just about what you're speaking, but also how you speak it. Tone is everything. And I think for the both of us, it took us forever to really understand that particular feature inside of communication.
It's not what you say, but how you say. Number 3, be receptive to what the others
say.
What they're saying, because clearly he's not saying the same thing I'm saying. Yes. So I struggled in this area for sure. Because sometimes, you know, when someone says something you don't want to hear, it rubs you the wrong way. Now you got an attitude. And I told y'all about my attitude last time. So with that being said, it's really, really important for you to receive what they're saying. Even if you don't agree, it's important to acknowledge that they're feeling a certain way, acknowledge how you may have contributed to that, and then move on and learn something from it.
I also have a bit of an attitude. Although it may seem like I'm a bit reserved, I can have a bit of an attitude depending upon how you're speaking to me.
And fly off the handle. Off the handle.
Yes, tend to fly off the handle.
I don't even know what that means, to be honest. Put it in the comment section if you know what fly off the handle means. Fly off the handle. Lose one's temper suddenly and unexpectedly. Back to you, Tavius.
James 1:19 tells us to be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath and anger. In other words, if we actually take the time to listen and be receptive to what's being said to us, oftentimes we can think through what has been said, and we can find where the truth is, and we can actually dish away what does not actually...
He's having problems communicating.
Can dish away with what does not actually hold true for us. And that way, we're able to actually take the process, thinking through everything, so we're slow to speaking, so that we're not so quick with it, because when we're quick with it, we don't think through anything. And it just causes more problems.
Number 4, wait for the other person to finish. When I'm
I
talking
wanted to say
when I
that
said,
you...
when I'm trying to say
what?
what it, wait for
Are
me
you...
Wait for me to finish. All right, you can go.
You don't want to have tunnel vision, or in this case, tunnel hearing, which is caused by a thing called diffuse physiological arousal.
Diffuse physiological arousal, or DPA, is the physiological overload when a person experiences the flight or fight or sympathetic nervous system activation. Basically, that's the system that causes you to want to fight or run. So basically, you real mad, you got heat on your chest, and you about to blow off and what's the word? Fly off the handle. Back to you, Tavius.
So yeah, in this case, due to your adrenaline rushing in, you ready to fight or again, you're ready to fly.
Yeah.
So when you feel yourself getting to that point to where you either want to fight or you want to run away, you want to take about 20 minutes of time apart just to calm down, think through everything, and relax.
Yeah.
And later come back together. Now, you can't take more than 20 minutes because for some of us, especially if you are like me, where my biggest problem in those communication issues, I tend to stew on things. And so what happens is your brain tends to bring up everything that your partner, your spouse has done wrong to you. And all of that will come back up.
Back in kindergarten, you took my crayon.
I didn't even know her in
didn't
kindergarten.
even know her in kindergarten.
So yeah.
But that's how Tavius is, though. He'll bring up something from like elementary school. You're like, what?
But it's
I
usually
didn't even know
because
you. How is this possible?
Usually because there was some wound that took place some time before that never actually got dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
And so all you're doing is packing stuff on top of one another instead of actually communicating, and then it comes back up later. And that's typically what happens in the cycle.
It's like a capped volcano. And waiting for the other person to finish, it may be even better for you to even cap the conversation for another time. Like, I'm gonna have to cap this for another time because my son keeps interrupting. Yes.
I want Mickey Mouse.
That's okay. Have kids, y'all. It'll be fun, they said. The last thing you want to do is undo every single thing that you've worked towards in trying to effectively communicate. So if it's better left to wait until you guys have calmed down, then do so. Otherwise, while the other person is speaking, just make sure that you're intentional about listening. And even if you have to take notes, I personally have had to do that where, you know, this is a heated discussion and I'm doing my best to pay attention, but I'm starting to lose my train of thought. So when it's my turn to speak, I forget. Take notes and make sure that you are providing that feedback. Ultimately, we just want to drive home the point that communication is paramount to any relationship. That's your relationship with God, your relationship with your family, and your relationship with each other.
So we really just want you to have open, honest, and yes, emotional, fellas, communication. That means you actually have to open up. Otherwise, communication is not going to take place at all.
Yes. And in order for us to be able to have a more perfect union, we hold these truths to be self-evident. Isn't that something? A preamble?
Declaration of Independence.
Child, you know, I don't want to say I failed history, but I wasn't that great. Hopefully you guys have benefited from the discussion in this video. Please place in the comment section if you have any topics, because we definitely love to hear from you. All right, y'all, until next time, peace, love, and blessings.
Peace.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at Peterkin-DOM. That's Peterkin-DOM. Peterkin-DOM. And that's all she wrote. Bye.
For more videos and the latest updates, don't forget to subscribe.